Broadcasting from the Penguin Air Plumbing and Electrical Studios, we're your hosts, Will Hallett and Wade Rusk, and this is the Penguin Pro Show. Today on episode 14, we have Rob Thomasson on the show. Rob is the Regional Manager for Goodman Manufacturing. We are excited to talk to Rob about his background and the HVAC industry as a whole. The Penguin Pro Show is an informative podcast talking about air conditioning, heating, plumbing, and electrical systems in the home. Each week, we bring on a panel of professionals to educate listeners on different topics related to these systems. Good morning, Wade.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. How was your
I'm
weekend?
excited to have Rob on.
Me too.
Not only is he a professional,
Why are you smiling?
He's a pro. He's definitely a pro.
but he's a good friend,
He is.
and I like doing business with him.
Happy to be here.
He's a great person and also a great operator in this industry, so we're excited to have him.
But yeah, I'm doing good, man. Could have got some better sleep. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Up every hour on the hour, it seems like right now. But
Story of our life, though, right? Business owners, mind doesn't shut off.
still getting here and getting the job done.
That's right. How was your weekend?
Weekend was good, real good.
What'd you do?
That's tough.
We had a friend in town.
I do know that we hung out with our three.
The three amigos
Number
were back
three
together.
of Three Amigos or Three Stooges, one or the other. Our buddy Dan's in town from Florida and proposed at dinner. We were all able to be a part of that.
That's
Oh,
fun.
nice.
Yeah, so that was fun, and that was Saturday?
That was Friday night.
That was Friday night. Saturday, what did we do? Just ran some errands, hung out with some friends while you were
Oh, my goodness.
at volleyball for, 12 hours?
Yes, it was a regional volleyball tournament. My daughter plays club volleyball, and it was a 12-hour day of volleyball. It was in a camping chair for 12 hours. So
I have to admit, I wasn't jealous. And Sunday,
you don't be.
I hung out at your house with you at the pool and
Yeah, it was fun.
watched you mow the lawn and stuff.
Yeah, I did some yard work, and we barbecued a little bit. Jonathan would be jealous of our burger skills. We can barbecue some mean
Oh, that burger was amazing.
cheeseburgers. Yeah,
It was cooked perfectly.
Sounds like you set that up, though, nicely. He made burgers. You sat by the pool while he mowed the lawn.
And listened to music
Yeah.
and had a couple beverages.
That's a pretty good win.
It was a good time.
and then, as I get that grass that's floating on the pool out, would you?
I want to jump in.
yeah, and I netted the pool.
He skimmered it for like 30 minutes. I'm like, dude, come sit down, relax. Like
Yeah.
he was a busy bee that day.
It was fun. So yeah, let's
Nice
get into
weekend.
the show. I'm excited to have Rob on, and Jay's here. He's a Penguin Pro here. He's our GM at Penguin Air Plumbing and Electrical. Always good to have you on the show.
Thanks for having me.
So where do we start?
Let's start by commenting that the studio is amazing.
Yeah, we can thank Jonathan for that. He completed this in January, and it took several months, and he's never done this before, and now he's almost an expert. He's our technician, our studio technician.
Nice
and
job.
among other things, and
Producer.
Yeah.
I think he's almost an expert in
he
everything.
loves it. Well, he gives it 110%.
He does.
Puts his heart and soul into it, and I think he likes this.
He likes to
He has a
learn
lot
new
of fun with
things.
this.
I enjoy it. Thank you very much.
No,
But then the software and the cutting and piecing everything together, and because we do make a lot of mistakes, he makes sure he includes some of those and gets rid of others. And
He makes us look good.
He makes it. He makes it fun.
He does do some good editing.
Yeah.
That's right.
We do have
So
fun with it.
we cannot do these live, gentlemen, ever.
Well, I'm happy to be here and appreciate the relationship. So, yeah,
Yeah,
awesome.
thanks for making it happen.
sure.
And
Yeah, thanks for coming on.
what we usually like to do with guests is start with just tell us a little bit about your background and how you got into the industry.
Sure. Every time I reflect on that, I realize I'm one of the old guys in the industry. But my dad was in HVAC. So he worked, I'm from Baltimore. You may hear that in my voice at times. I have that Baltimore accent. But he worked for the local utility and then left that and started his own business. And I carried his tools and did most of the demo work because I wasn't skilled enough to do the actual install. And I think my dad realized at some point when he saw me turn a wrench that maybe I should go into sales and not be a technician. So he actually helped
Lucky
me.
you.
Yeah, I know. I think that was worked out well. He introduced me to the local supply house, and I started as the parts guy and CSR, customer service rep, and moved up from there. So I've been in the business for over 30 years.
And this is in Baltimore?
Baltimore, yeah. So
you were at?
that supply house was acquired and continued to grow, but I've always been on the, short of working with my dad, I've always been on the distribution side.
Right.
Okay, so you grew up in Baltimore.
Yeah.
You were born in Baltimore too?
I was born and raised Baltimore, still a Baltimore Ravens fan.
I
So
was going to ask.
don't hold that against me.
No, that's good. They're a good team.
Lamar Jackson's the quarterback, right?
I believe so. Yeah, that shows how what a fan I am. I'm not even
believe
sure.
so. I'm a fan of the Cardinals, and that's about it. But I know a little bit about the other teams.
So did you go to college out on the East Coast then?
So I had my associate's degree in Maryland, but then through the course of just moving across the country and following the paycheck in the HVAC industry, I ultimately landed here and made the decision to go back to school to finish my undergrad, and I went to ASU.
Oh,
So
good
I'm officially,
Sun
officially a Sun Devil alumni. And what's fun about that is I was able to graduate at the same time as my son.
Oh, cool.
that is
So we
cool.
actually graduated.
Oh, that's super cool.
Wasn't on stage because there were about 2,000 people, so they don't do the stage thing anymore. But to be able to stand with my son and earn our degrees at the same time was
Exciting.
just
Yeah, it is
unbelievably.
awesome. Yeah.
So you have your son, and you have
Just one son.
One son.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, he's 26 years old.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And what did he graduate in?
Organizational leadership, same as I did.
Same degree.
Interesting,
That's
right? But he's working for an insurance company in Las Vegas right now.
Okay.
So, but he's doing well. Has a wonderful girlfriend, and they're getting their apartment for the first time. So, I'm a proud dad for
Awesome.
sure. Yeah.
So you moved out here. How long ago did you move out to Arizona?
I've been in Arizona for 5 years, so that's kind of a fun story. I was the regional manager for Northern California, and I was flying back from Houston, where our factory is,
Right.
and had a short connecting flight in Phoenix, going back home to Sacramento. And I was divorced at the time, and caught the eye of this wonderful flight attendant that was working that connecting flight from Phoenix to Sacramento, and today she is my wife.
That's
So,
awesome.
That's awesome.
So yeah, happy she's in my life. She's an amazing woman, and I'm a happy person.
That's
Well,
a
let me
great
intervene
story.
really quick, bro.
Yes.
Yeah.
You've got skills. Because you know how many
I know, I was
times these
gonna-
flight attendants get hit on? You must have some mad skills.
Well, I try to remind myself that, maybe I should say, remove it from my head that I know that I'm not the first business card that she's received
Right.
on a flight,
No
but
doubt,
I'm the
right?
only one she's saved.
That's
all right,
impressive.
so we'll say
That's
that.
that is impressive. Good point, Wade.
Yeah, well done.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, we met her. She's an
And
awesome
she's
lady.
very cool.
Yeah,
Thank you.
great person.
Yeah, I'm a lucky man.
Really
Yeah.
nice.
So that's my story in HVAC. I've been in the industry all my life, so it's served my family well. I love having great relationships like we have here, and in terms of just opportunities, there's some sort of safety, if you will, in this industry that every summer people need to be cool, and every winter people need to be warm. Now, only the true top performers excel in an environment of sort of commodity, right? But this industry's been very good to me, and I've treasured it and respected it immensely.
Yeah, it is the best. I mean, we're biased, right? All four
Sure.
of us, but I think it is the best industry in the world. What we get to do in these relationships, we get to develop.
Yeah.
So let's go into where your role is now
Yes.
at Goodman. Little history on Goodman, probably as well, and let's talk about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll talk about Mr. Harold Goodman, first of all. So he founded the company. So I like to say that we are the youngest, most successful HVAC manufacturer in the world. Because if you look at some of our competitors, respectfully, Carrier, Trane, and Lennox, they were way ahead of us in terms of just when they started, right? So Harold Goodman was a contractor, much like Penguin, but they were focused on new construction. And he said, I can do this better. and I can do it cheaper, and I can do it more effectively. So he bought the tooling and the machinery and started Goodman Manufacturing. And he did so with sort of a core belief that the contractor is the brand. And that's not just a, corporate mission statement. That was Harold's belief because he was a contractor. So that core value has remained with us today. So we went from just being a startup HVAC manufacturer from Mr. Harold Goodman to lots of growth and development. We were in private equity a couple of times during that period of time to ultimately, and it's not quite 7-8 years ago, roughly. I should know that, but the world's largest air conditioning manufacturer acquired us, and that was Daikin, headquartered out of Japan. So we're now a part of the Daikin organization. So that's sort of the 50-cent sort of history timeline of Goodman Manufacturer.
5 million square foot facility in Houston?
4 million square feet, and right outside, about 40 minutes outside of Houston. It's mind-numbingly amazing.
Mm-hmm. Oh, we've gotten the tour right when we joined the Goodman team, essentially, and we got the tour, and it was so impressive.
Yeah, the reason what we did with that manufacturing plan is we took all of our research and development, all of our testing, and all of the corporate support and put them under one roof because we had manufacturing in Tennessee and we had manufacturing scattered across Houston, and they were very siloed. So they didn't talk with one another, and decision making wasn't expeditious. Mm-hmm. So now we can make decisions at the drop of a dime. There's a lot more collaboration, and as a result, it enables us to move faster to customer needs. So it's an
impressive operation, no doubt.
Yeah.
Now you guys have had some challenges with COVID, and
we're
trying to recover from that. All of us, right?
Yeah, it's we're still in it essentially, right? So, we're manufactured in the U.S. So that's something to be very proud of. Certainly, if you're an employee of Goodman Manufacturing, you're very proud of that. The downside of that, as compared to some of our competitors, is when COVID hit, the restrictions and the guidelines were much harsher on us than maybe if you manufactured in another country. Mm-hmm. So we responded in a manner to keep our roughly 5,000 plus employees at the factory safe. So we had to completely redesign our production lines to allow for social distancing, to keep them safe, to make sure that we had enough medical care. Our facility in Waller, Texas is essentially a city itself. Mm-hmm. We have a hospital, we have a cafeteria and food service. We have everything those employees could possibly need without having to provide them with a bed. And by the way, we're working on that as well.
Is that right?
Yeah,
wow.
We're creating.
Well, it's like a campus almost. Like it's not convenient to have to leave even for lunch. It'd take you an hour to get in and out.
Yeah,
or more.
Absolutely. So last April we shut the factory down to make those necessary changes, and we are better today because of that decision. But it was painful because it put us behind in terms of production last summer, and we're still battling back from that.
So something you said earlier today when you got here is you guys are manufacturing like 20,000 units a day right now.
Yeah, I look back. I've been with the company for 10 years, and I used to brag about manufacturing 15,000 units a day. And now we're close to 20, in some cases hitting 20. And it's just
and still
amazing.
Not keeping up with the demand.
No, the demand is, it's interesting. I don't have all the answers on why demand is what it is. I think it's partly pandemic related. It's partly low interest rates and home equity loans and just the availability of cash. But demand is up well into the double digits, and supply is not. Mm-hmm. So there is definitely a challenge there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so what do you see the industry going here in the next few years? Like, what's your opinion on where we can see that?
Well, there's a couple of things that Goodman and Daikin are working on. One is being prepared for what's happening in 2023 and that's where we move from R410A refrigerant. I'll try not to be too technical, one, because I'm not,
I'm right there with you, Rob.
and two, because it's not of
That's why Jay's here.
That's why Jay's here.
Yeah, ask Jay.
It's not of tremendous value probably to
Other than just being
to your audience.
a beautiful specimen.
I thought that's the only reason you guys had me here. Is just
mean,
stand here
Will-
and put on chapstick every now and then.
I think Will forgets you're here sometimes.
That's all right. We need his lips.
I don't even know what that means. But it'd be great for you to say something if you could get a word in. But
You're invited to.
I know you guys
Maybe we
like
get
taking
into
up all the time.
well, I just cut him off, dude. I just like,
maybe we can get in the technical aspect of it right now. So
Sure.
where it's going.
So I guess long term, which is what we're working on today, but for your audience, maybe it's more long term. We're preparing for 2023, and that's a requirement to move from current refrigerant to a new refrigerant, and that refrigerant is R32. And why does your audience care about that? It's about an acronym called GWP, Global Warming Potential. I even forget about it sometimes myself. So if you're environmentally conscious, then you probably already know what global warming potential is. Current refrigerants do not score well on global warming potential. There's an element of chlorine in current refrigerants that has a negative impact to the environment. So Daikin and Goodman are very focused on sustainability and being environmentally conscious, and they invest tremendous amount on the future and helping to preserve our planet. So moving to R32 and meeting governmental guidelines by which we influenced, because that's the level of influence that Daikin and Goodman have, we're going to be shifting our products to R32 because of to minimize the impact to the environment. And for those folks out there that certainly care about that, as I'm sure we all do, just know that just means a unit that's going to be better suited long term for the planet, essentially.
And I'm guessing everybody's going to have kind of the same impact as they did when the change happened from R22 to R410A. Is eventually, with everybody moving in this direction, you're going to see a lot of those impacts where, one, it's going to start getting harder to find the older refrigerants. It's going to get more expensive. Everybody's going to focus on the new R32. And then, of course, the units, your older units, as they get up there, you're not really going to be able to replace parts and pieces of them. You're going to have to go with a full replacement, kind of like you do now. If you have an old R22 system, really hard to replace pieces of that. You have to go with the full system to get into the 410A. So
yeah, I mean, we look back at the changes from R22 to R410A. There's certainly things we can be aware of, right? There's is your unit obsolete? Are the components? Can you put a new refrigerant in an existing unit? And the answer to that is no. So there's all sorts of things that we already know are going to happen. Yeah. And certainly as it relates to the instruments that you use to service the equipment, many of those will have to change. Yeah. So that's an investment on your part. But ultimately, and this is not specific to Goodman and Daikin. This is an industry change. What's interesting about this one, then R22 to 410, is there's not a complete consensus over which refrigerant to move to. Some manufacturers are choosing to, one in particular, is choosing to use R454B, and that's a decision. A majority of the industry is using R32, and I think it's important to say why we believe very strongly it's R32. One, because Daikin is the largest manufacturer globally. We already have R32 in Asia, in Europe, and it's been working for years. And what's interesting about R32, it's not a blend of different refrigerants like R410A is and like R454B is. It is a single molecule component, and I'm going way deeper than I intend to.
Interesting.
But just know that it's a single molecule component. It's already tried and true. It's proven in Asia and Europe, so it's not some sort of new new vaccine.
Yeah, some new
refrigerant.
Yeah.
And so we have a lot of confidence in it. And Daikin was the early developer of R32. And what we did, because we're so focused on not just our own needs, but the needs of the planet, is we made that recipe, if you will, that patent open to all manufacturers to use. So even though we developed R32, we made it available to everyone for production because we know it'll have a positive impact on the planet.
Yeah, and I think something that's very important for homeowners to know that will help them and really impact them compared to, like you said, you bring up the blend refrigerants, is really blend refrigerants literally means it's made up of several different refrigerants that they put together and make that one refrigerant. But in their system, those refrigerants will actually separate.
Correct.
In different parts of the system will be a different refrigerant. So if they have a leak in the different part of the system, one of the blends can leak out more than the other, now throwing off your entire blend of refrigerants and cause inefficiency loss and that kind of stuff. So if some of that happens too much, you have to replace all of it.
Yeah.
Compared to the regular.
Thus
This is
impacting
why we have
the
Jay.
Integrity.
Exactly.
I just thought that sounded
Very impressive.
that would impact the integrity of the system.
Yeah, I mean, it can cause, like you say, just the system's not going to work
It's
as
not
well.
gonna be as efficient.
More wear and tear on the system, not as
Correct.
efficient.
May not
I mean,
last
a lot
as
of
long.
a lot of the stuff, and then the only way to correct that is pulling everything out and going all in with brand new, so that you make sure that the blend is back to where it should be.
Well, if I was Goodman, I would have kept that refrigerant to myself, so nobody else had that refrigerant, and we
Well,
have
if
a stronghold
you're-
on the market.
And I appreciate that.
But
Wade.
no,
If-
you guys aren't, an evil genius.
no, we're not. We're not Dr. Evil.
Well, I think that goes to show that really where it came from is the contractor first, right? Is making sure that, hey, not every AC company has to have 10 different refrigerants because
Correct.
everybody hoards their own, and it would be a nightmare for us as the contractor to service a Goodman unit, a Carrier unit, a Trane unit, a Lennox unit if they all had their own proprietary refrigerant.
And that's probably where it would go.
Yeah.
So that's what we're working on long term. Short term today, in terms of technology available, I think that was the other part of the question. Comfort Bridge, another sort of fancy name for a technology that we're all pretty proud of. So Comfort Bridge essentially takes the brains, in many cases, limited brains of a thermostat and puts robust brains in the indoor unit. So what that enables homeowners to do is choose their own thermostat, essentially. So, if I was to share an analogy, you have a phone on the wall with a cord. Now we all walk around with our phones. So it's essentially the same thing. Many of our competitors, respectfully, sell a very expensive proprietary thermostat to work with their system. And that's just, we're just opposed to that because it doesn't seem friendly. We want consumers to be able to choose their own thermostat. So,
And that's particularly with like communicating systems or something.
Correct,
right?
absolutely.
Or two-wire type systems.
correct. So the brains of a really high-end thermostat will be in your furnace, and then that will work with a thermostat that the homeowner chooses through guidance from Penguin in this example. And the Comfort Bridge technology, those brains in the indoor unit will monitor the system, will make sure that the thermostat is operating as well as the system as a whole to provide optimal comfort. So that's an innovation we're pretty proud of, is putting those brains in the unit. So
That's very cool.
That's one thing.
That
Yeah,
is
man, it's
cool.
very exciting for the homeowners and us as well, but especially the homeowners because there are so many smart thermostats out there on the market. Your Nest, your Ecobees, Honeywells, and some even security systems have their own thermostat that's built into their whole smart home, and they can't install some of the units they want because it won't work with the thermostat that they have, and we ran into problems with that.
I've had problems
Yeah.
with that with my systems, my communicating systems at one time, and the Nest wasn't working well. This one was, or that. It was just weird. Like there was no rhyme or reason for it. Just sometimes you have
They're just
these
more
weird
compatible and they're
glitches
not,
or
yeah.
whatever.
Yeah. So
It's software.
So if you want a smart home, Comfort Bridge will be compatible with smart homes. If you're just old school like me and just want a standard thermostat.
Do you still have a round Honeywell T87 deal?
Right next to my rotary phone, yeah.
Very nice. Very nice. Why does that not surprise me?
I'm the old guy. What can I tell you? So Comfort Bridge is awesome. Inverter compressors is another buzzword that some of your homeowners may hear about. So inverter technology is the compressor, so the heartbeat of the system, if you will. And inverter technology is something that Kline and Goodman have in place all throughout the world. So it's not new technology. It's just new to the United States would be the best way to describe it. And all we really need to know there, what's the benefit, what's in it for me from a consumer standpoint, fewer moving parts, therefore fewer chance of something breaking down. And also the inverter does its job in the most efficient, effective way and only produces enough to satisfy the thermostat, no more, no less. So if you look at sort of compressor history over time, it was sort of an all in or it was off.
Right.
And inverter technology provides just the right amount of refrigerant to satisfy the thermostat. And Jay, fill in the blanks if I'm wrong about that.
No, I mean, that's it. I mean, I look at it like the easiest way to, I guess, describe that type of system is it's like, in the new cars you get, the driver's seat you can set to 72 degrees and the passenger seat you can turn up to, 78 degrees where your wife's sitting if she's cold. And that's kind of the thing where you can with these newer systems is it hones in on the one temperature you want. It'll run just enough to just stay there, stay very comfortable, no more, you're hot when it finally turns on. And then when it finally shuts off, you're almost cold. And then so you have those swings back and forth as it cycles on and off. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think the final innovation, if you will, is our warranty. So we've always had industry-leading factory warranties, 10-year warranties, but we added a 2-year unit replacement warranty about 2 years ago, actually, I believe. And that just, I would hope, gives your audience sort of a level of confidence and peace of mind that not only are we built in the U.S., but to add that level of warranty to a product says it's made well.
Because if you have a unit that is a quote-unquote lemon, you'll know within 2 years, and you'll get it replaced.
Oh, you'll know right away.
No, in one summer in this this state.
So that should instill a lot of confidence in a homeowner.
Yeah. So
I want to touch on real quick just, the relationship with Goodman and the fact that we've been in business 10 years, and we've worked with many other manufacturers or distributors. The Goodman relationship is by far much easier to work with, much more enjoyable. They care, which helps the homeowner in the end, right? And the support factor. But the care factor, again, it's about the contractor. You could tell, we didn't get that level of support and service from anybody else that we get from you guys. And again, we can, in confidence, share these stories with homeowners and how it's going to translate to them if they have an issue, no matter what. So we appreciate that, and we're not going anywhere.
Yeah, Rob does a good job of leading a team here in Arizona and also Utah as well. And that team is, you can tell from the top down, you've done a great job of leading that team. So we appreciate that relationship immensely. It's you are our largest vendor, so it's a very important relationship.
Yeah. Well, values in a business relationship are no different than a personal relationship, right? You have to have trust. You have to constantly sort of reintroduce yourself, remind this business partner, this person you're in a relationship with, that you are the best, and to constantly
appreciated, right?
And appreciated.
Because a lot of, and I like working direct with the manufacturer as well. You don't have that opportunity with the other brands. You're really working with the distributor. So there's a middleman involved, and that complicates things.
Yep. Yeah.
But a lot of homeowners, and I'll say another thing, is a lot of homeowners get caught up in brand in general. And one thing I think we should, especially Jay, probably touch on is, although the brand and with some of the technology Goodman's going to be taken advantage of here in the near future, probably one of the most important things is the relationship with the dealer doing the work, because the quality of the installation is key, right? And if you want to touch on that briefly.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, I mean, one of the biggest things, of course, is, I mean, they're all, they all differ, right? They all have different pieces of technology, some different refrigerants, whatever way you want to look at it. At the end of the day, they blow hot and cold air into the house, right? They
Right.
heat or cool the house. The biggest thing that I always look at is what happens when there's a problem, right? I mean, there's mechanical devices. They have moving parts. Sometimes stuff fails. And that's the biggest thing that I love about Goodman and the relationship that we have is when something fails, you guys are there to stand behind that and make sure with that 2-year replacement warranty, where if you do have issues with the unit up front, you guys own it. We'll give you a new one, right? We'll replace that thing in 2 years. If you guys have a couple major failures, whatever, we'll take care of it. No questions asked. We'll just do it. And that's one of the biggest things that I think we notice for us is that in putting the contractors first, right? You care more about the Penguin brand than the Goodman brand. It's the way it feels. And that, in a sense, puts the customer first because now we're able to take care of our customers in the fullest when they have these issues and they have these units go in. We can take care of them because you guys take care of us.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be very transparent. I'm very proud of our company and the products we make. But if you lined up our equipment with every other lines of equiment, there's not a tremendous amount of differentiation.
That's right.
That's
I
just
think that's what I was alluding to.
That's just, I'm just being very candid here. So it's really about what Jay just said, and that is when things go wrong, who has your back? And I'm committed on a daily basis and focused on making sure my people have your back, and that enables you to have the backs of your consumers and homeowners, and that's what we're supposed to do. That's our job, and that's what our commitment is.
Yeah, and you guys done an excellent job.
That makes our job a lot easier.
Yeah.
Well, is there anything else you want to share, or are we wrapping this up?
No, man. Good job, Rob. That was a lot of info. I learned a lot today. Certainly appreciate you taking the time to come on.
My pleasure. Honored to be here. Had fun.
Yeah, Rob, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so next week, Jay, why don't you go tell them what we're going to be doing next week?
So next week we're going to be bringing plumbing back in. I have Louis, the plumbing manager, back in here talking about sewer pipelining and bursting, which is a new big thing that's really, I mean, it's not that new, but it's really kind of taken off on a lot simpler way than digging up your whole yard and replacing a sewer line. Some really good tricks on being able to replace that, get it fixed without tearing stuff up and making the job a lot easier and a little more cost effective as well.
Yeah, so talking about technology like we did today, they're doing a lot of things in plumbing now to be able to get the jobs done
Can you do that?
more efficient.
Because I told Louis he wasn't coming back on.
Oh, this is true. We did tell him that last week. Yeah.
We'll use his double.
There we go.
I can't stop laughing when Louis comes on. It's very difficult.
Oh,
we have a lot of fun.
They
He makes
do
me laugh.
giggle a lot, yeah.
Yeah, that's a 2-hour episode usually and a lot of editing.
You're not welcome
Jonathan's
back.
like, no more plumbing episodes, please. No more. I know it's fun. So, go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe. We're on YouTube, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple. We'd love to hear your comments and any other shows or questions you have for the future. Let us know, and we'll answer those and maybe have a show about that as well, Jonathan. Right? We need to still do that.
Yep.
So, thanks for coming on, Rob,
Thank you.
and we'll see you next week.